Hi, so in this one we're going to be talking about what are variables in programming, how to create them, how to use them, and how are they stored in your computer's memory. Now variables is a very fundamental and important topic in your programming journey because whenever you write code, you're always going to be using variables. So this is a super important topic and we're going to be understanding this very swiftly in a very simple way. So just hang on with me and let's just get into it. Now, as we spoke about variables being stored in our computer's memory, we have a computer on the screen and, well, we're showing the memory of the computer. Now, what do we use the computer's memory for? We use it to store some kind of application, some kind of files, that we need whenever we restart a computer and we want to view them or, we want to play them, right? We use them to store some kind of data or information. Just like that, variables are used to store some kind of data or information inside your computer's memory. How is that so? Let's take an example. Let's say that you've got a closet and in your closet you've got a lot of shelves, right? Now, every shelf has three boxes and each box is labeled. So let's say one box is a box for shoes, one box is a box for clothes, and another box is a box for books, right? So you know that you'll always find shoes in the box named shoes. You'll always find clothes in the box named clothes, and you'll always find books in the box named books because that is where you're storing all of those things. Just like that, what variables do is variables act as a box that store whatever data or information you want in them and then place themselves in the memory like data blocks, just as you see on the screen. So your memory is nothing but a collection of many data blocks that store some kind of a value or some kind of data. So we define variables as a named memory location inside your computer that stores some kind of data or value. Now, this data or value could be anything. Again, they could be pictures, videos, applications, some kind of text, some kind of music, right? And just as the name suggests, variable, that means that the value inside a variable can vary or it can change over time. So a variable can hold different types of values, just as let's say you've got a box in your closet that's called shoes and you always store shoes in it. But now what you want to do is you want to use that box to store something else, maybe something like scarves, right? So you could just relabel that box or simply let the box be named shoes and then store scarves in it. It doesn't matter. It's just a box at the end of the day and you can store anything inside it. So variables again are a named memory location or a location inside your computer's memory that you've given a certain name and that stores some kind of a value. Let's go ahead and create some of our own variables and see how are they stored in our computer's memory. So we're going to be creating three different variables called username, name, and age. Let's say that we're building an online shopping website where we need to store the user's username, the user's name, and the user's age. So we've created three variables for these three things that we want from the user or that we want to store that belong to our user. Now we add some kind of values to these variables. So for the username, we give a value that says James1234. For the name, we give a value that just says James. And for the age, we give a number which is 25. So whenever you create these variables and give them some kind of a value, they store themselves inside your computer or your phone's memory in a similar fashion. So that's basically the concept of variables. All you need to know is that variables simply help you store some kind of a value inside your computer's memory so that you can use it later in your program as well as change the kind of value that you've already stored inside a certain variable. Enough talking, let's just get into PyCharm and start coding variables and understand more about variables and learn more about variables by actually doing some exercises. Now, let's get started with an exercise on variables so that we understand how to actually code variables using Python and, well, start actually using variables and actually begin our programming journey. For this, you're going to have to fire up PyCharm yet again, and you're going to have to do this for the rest of your course. So yeah, just have your PyCharm ready and fired up whenever you're watching these videos so that it's easier for you and faster for you to go ahead and do the exercises. Now, for this one, what we're going to be doing is simply opening up PyCharm, creating a new project in our Python course folder. So I'm just going to go over here on desktop. In Python course, I'm simply going to open up this folder, put a / and then create a project, variables, right? That's a pretty good name for a project. So let's just create that project. Now, once we've created that project, we're just going to close all of these unwanted things, select all of this code, this default sample code that's given to us by PyCharm, and remove it using backspace or the delete button. Now, once that's done, inside your main.py file that's already open, what you want to do is three things. So I've already written this. You don't really need to write these things. I'll talk to you about what is this pound sign or this hashtag for, and yeah, we'll go ahead from there. So first of all, this hashtag is used to signify a comment in your code. So comments are not really a part of your code. Comments are usually like a side note on your code. So for example, I'm printing something like, hello world. I could just put a hashtag here and say this line of code prints the words hello world, right? So the comment is never a part of your code. It's just like a note for your code. So don't worry about whenever I use a hashtag here, it's just so that I could give you a little more information on the exercise. So in this case, let's just, go ahead and start creating our variables. Now, the first part of this exercise is to create a variable called name and store your name in it and display it using the print statement. So let's take a look at how to do that. So the first thing you do is you give your variable a certain name, or you name your variable. And in this case, we want to create a variable that is called name. So I'm simply going to write the name of the variable, which is name, and put an equals sign. So this means that we want to put something inside of a variable called name. And what we want to put inside of it is some text which holds our name, which in this case, my name is Yash. So I just put these double quotes or single quotes, and I'll write Yash. That's my name, right? So now what happens is I've created a variable called name and I've stored the value Yash inside the variable name. Now it says display it using the print statement. So the print statement, or print with these parentheses or brackets, is usually used to simply display or show whatever is stored inside a variable. So this means that whenever I write print and then I type name, name, just like that, just observe that I do not have the double quotes here with my variable name, right? So whenever I use the print statement just with the variable name and run it, what the computer does is it goes to the memory location that is called name, because if you recall from the last part of this video, that a variable is a named memory location. So there's a memory location inside your computer's memory which is called name, and it holds the value Yash. So whenever I print name, it simply goes to that memory location, picks up that value, and displays it for us right here. Now let's take a look at the difference between just writing print name like this and print name but in double quotes. So the difference between these two statements is that the first one without the double quotes simply displays the value that is stored inside the variable, while the second one simply displays whatever is written within double quotes. So that is a difference, and that is a very, very important difference that I'd like you to note. Let's go for the next one. The next one says create a variable called age and store your age in it. Display it using print. Okay, pretty simple, right? So we could write age, that's the name of the variable, make it equal to my age is 24. And then simply print age. And click on the green run button, and now it displays 24 along with the first two lines of code. So in this case, we learned two things. The first thing that we've learned is that whenever you click on the green run button, your code starts executing from the top to the bottom. So from the first line to whatever the last line of the code is. In this case, first it creates a variable called name, stores the value Yash in it, then it prints the value stored inside the variable name, and then it also prints name, which is just text because it's in double quotes. Then it creates a variable called age, stores a value 24 inside it, and then prints the value stored inside of the age variable. Another thing that we learn out of this is that here, when I've stored the age, I've not used double quotes. And why haven't I used double quotes here? Because this Yash here and the 24 here, they are two different types of data. Just like music and photos are two different types of data, this Yash within double quotes and these numbers without the double quotes are two different types of data. The Yash here is called a string, or as of now, you can just think of it as some kind of text because it is within double quotes. So what you need to know is anything that is in Python, that is written in Python within double quotes is a string, or it is some kind of text. We'll talk more about this. And any number that is just written the way it is either an integer or a float, or it's just some kind of a number is what you need to know for now. So the age variable stores a number and the name variable stores some kind of text. Now, even if I put this 24 within double quotes and then run this code, it's the same thing, but it's actually still different. And we'll talk more about this in the next video. But as of now, what you need to know is we're just going to be storing this number as a number and not as a string or text. So that's why we're not going to be putting it within double quotes, and we're going to be printing it. The next thing is create a variable favorite drink and store the name of your favorite drink in it. Display it using print. All right. So that's pretty simple. So I'm just going to create a variable called favorite drink first. So FAVOURITE drink, just like that. Make that equal to my favorite drink. So let's see. My favorite drink is coffee. All right. Now what you see is I've not put the double quotes here, and I've done that on purpose so that you understand the difference between text and numbers. So I've not put the double quotes here. It does give me this red squiggly line here, which does not really look so good, so appealing. It's quite scary actually. And it says unresolved reference coffee. Let's keep this aside for a minute and simply press the green run button. When we do that, it gives us this nice big error, super scary looking error. And trust me, it still scares me, but it's super simple to understand. So now what you need to listen to, or what you need to actually read when PyCharm or Python throws an error or gives you an error, is the last line of the error. It says name error, name coffee is not defined. So what's happening here is Python doesn't know what's coffee, because neither is it any kind of text, because number one, just observe, it is not within double quotes. So it's not text and it's not a number. So Python really doesn't know what is coffee. Is it a variable? Is it some kind of data? But Python really doesn't know. So what you want to do is whenever you use alphabets and you want to store it inside a variable, you really just want to put it within double quotes. So now what happens is this coffee, it becomes a string, or it becomes some kind of text data that can be stored inside the favorite drink variable. So now when I run this, our error goes, but well, it really doesn't display anything here. Why is that? That is simply because we haven't printed the value stored inside the favorite drink variable. Now, what I would do is I would leave it to you to figure out how would you display the value stored inside our favorite drink variable without any errors. And your time starts now. Okay, so I hope you guys were able to do that. That was a fairly simple task. But just in case you weren't able to do it, don't worry. It's pretty simple. So as we learned earlier, we've stored some kind of data, some kind of text data inside the favorite drink variable. And all we want to do is we want to print or display the data that is stored inside of this variable. So what we do is inside our print statement, we simply type the name of our variable, which is favorite drink, just like that, without the double quotes, right? So once I do that and click on run, it says coffee, and we have successfully completed this exercise. Just to give you another touch point on this issue, if I just print out favorite drink in double quotes, it is simply going to display favorite drink and not coffee, which is the data stored inside the favorite drink variable. I hope you guys have understood the essence of variables. We will be using many more variables throughout the course. As of now, make sure you complete all the exercises that are given in these videos, as well as additionally in your course resources, and well, practice as much as you can. As always, if you've got any questions or issues, just put them down in the comment section and my team or I will definitely get back to you ASAP. Until then, just make sure you're tinkering with PyCharm, you're reading more about Python, you're following all my videos, and you're having a lot of fun becoming a great Python programmer. And I'll see you in the next one.